What up guys, Dreadshells here and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today I'm going to be starting a World of Tanks scouting guide on the map Prokhorovka, one of the most well-known scouting maps in the game other than Malinovka. I will probably be splitting this map guide into multiple videos as this map is just too large and too dynamic, and there's just way too much material to cover in just one video. But this video guide will hopefully be useful not only to scout players but also to medium and heavy and tank destroyer players, just to know how all the interaction goes between the positions on this map, which positions affect other positions, knowing when you're exposed to a sniper location from another area of the map, for an example. A lot of people get frustrated when they're trying to push an enemy position or be defensive, and they just aren't in a good spot to spot the enemy as they attack or as they're retreating, and knowing how they can progressively move from location to location to location and eliminate the enemy one by one. I'm going to be breaking the map down. I think I'm going to cover the 1-2 lines first in this video series guide, as that is the most commonly well-known position on this map for scout tank players. But I will be covering all of the map eventually in this video series, and that will hopefully give you guys a really good idea of how this map can be really dynamic depending on what has happened in the battle. Sometimes this map turns into an east versus west fight and not just a north versus south fight, kind of like Fisherman's Bay. But this map is actually really dynamic, and it lets tanks with really good vision like scouts and mediums with good flexibility really be helpful to their team in those kind of situations and be flexible to the battle situations, which is why I like this map so much. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this guide, and let's dive into this map together and learn a little bit more about Prokhorovka. Now, before we start diving in and dissecting specific locations on Prokhorovka, it's important that we take a general overview of the map and look at the general sections of the map and see how they interact with one another. And this will give you a lot better idea of how to try and get vision on specific areas or get specific angles of attack on the enemy from the location that you are at. So let's just get started. So first off, we have the 1-2 lines on the western side of the map. This section of the map runs the complete length of the map north to south, all the way from A1 and A2 to K1 and K2. And this portion of the map not only sports some progressive spotting opportunity as far as bush hopping and passive spotting locations, but it also has very good sniper opportunities, not only directly north to south, but also laterally into the center of the map. So this area is kind of a corridor in of itself, not your traditional corridor when you think about ridges and mountains. Although you can see here that the road is slightly elevated compared to the depressions to its left and to its right, but most of the isolation and division that it creates is mostly due to the bushes and the trees that run along both sides of the road. So the 1-2 lines is kind of what I would call a vision corridor. The field area is quite a significant portion of the map. I haven't done the math for it, but I would guess just by eyeballing it that this area of the map is somewhere between 40 and 45% of the actual square meter area of the map. It's a lot of open ground. There's some bushes occurring in the depressions in between the vertical ribs there, but most of those aren't really effective when spotting north to south. Of course, everyone knows the lateral ridge line that runs along the E and the F line, And a lot of peek and poke wars happen here between tanks with good gun depression. And there's potential crossfire that occurs between the 1-2 line and the hill, of course. Quite a neglected area of the map, though, that I don't see people utilize very often is the vertical ribs that run along north to south. These ridges actually become very, very useful when the engagement and the battle situation occurs to where it's both east to west, kind of a situation where one team has won one flank and the other team has won the other flank. And these ridges and these depressions become vital in winning the battle because they are used to get vision on the enemy team and sharper angles of attack. Now both spawns, the north spawn and the south spawn, are completely exposed. There is no soft cover or hard cover to hide behind, and if you're trying to cap, it is quite easy for people to shoot you if you're spotted. The key phrase is if you're spotted. Most of the time, successful caps happen on this map just because of map size. Next is the east side of the map. This area of the map is pretty different from the rest of the map. It has a lot more hard and soft cover on it, comparatively to the center field area, that is. This area of the map does interact with the 6th line quite a bit, and it's important to know where those areas are, mainly the gaps in the rail line area. And of course, you have the actual rail line area itself, which divides the center field area from the eastern side. There's quite a few opportunities for crossfire in between the 6th line and the 9-0 lines along this rail area. As you can see, the gaps in the center and north and south. Next, we actually have 2 large portions of a fairly open ground, with the exception of the bushes along the eastern side of the railway line. These areas are basically approaches up to the eastern village area and to the eastern hill area. The northern side does have an advantage in progressive retreat and using the river on the northeastern side of the map as kind of a last stand defensive location. Next, you have the eastern village area, which all the buildings in this area are destructible. And this area I would not recommend to go to early on in the game. It's kind of a death zone, but later on in the game it can be quite effective. Next, we have the infamous hill, and a lot of peek and poke wars happen along the 0 line. The north spawn, as you can see, has kind of a much wider approach onto the top of the hill than the south spawn does, and it's important to use that advantage. However, the north side is quite a bit more exposed to fire from the 6th line, so that is important to keep in mind when you're fighting in this area. Next, we have the ditch that runs along the base of the hill, and quite honestly, this area is pretty much useless other than progression from driving to the next location. I would not use this area almost in any circumstance. Most of the time it will get you killed because of the soft terrain. It slows your tank and you don't have that much hard cover at all. And finally, we have the Northeastern Hill area tucked away in the upper right hand corner of the map. This area has been changed several times actually, and basically this area is used as a suppressing sniper area for tanks advancing off of the hill from the south, and you can also get some shots into the eastern village area if enemy tanks are advancing from the center. So basically the overall strategy that you want to do on this map is you're trying to win one of the quadrants that the enemy team's spawn naturally occupies. And once you win one of these quadrants, either from artillery fire or sniper fire or great vision, it becomes much more easy to win the rest of the map because you have a second angle of attack on the next quadrant. So thank you guys so much for watching this preliminary review. I'll see you next time.